Speaking of GTA 5 is not easy. There is talk of a product that, even 10 years after its launch, continues to be at the top of the sales charts from time to time. Rockstar achieved a success by making GTA 5, which probably won't get any other AAA games in history. The success that has also brought dissatisfaction among fans after all these years. The latest version of the popular Grand Theft Auto series achieved such great success that it got Rockstar thinking about making a new version. The money had been sent to this company from every side. Why would it be given up? Why was it slowing the sale process of GTA 5 by creating and releasing a new version? To examine Rockstar's big win in the game industry, we need to get back to the 0 point where initial ideas were put forward to build the GTA 5. Preliminary work to build Grand Theft Auto 5 began around the release of Grand Theft Auto 4 in April 2008. The full development of the game lasted almost 3 years. Rockstar North's original 360-man team selected more than 1,000 game makers from other domestic companies in Rockstar to facilitate development. They were added to the build team from other Rockstar branches including Leeds, Lincoln, London, New England, San Diego and Toronto. If the studios weren't communicating with each other, the original 360-member team wouldn't be able to prepare the contents in due time. Anyway, the GTA 5 was supposed to be a huge game, and making it over only 5 years was a very big job. Media analysts estimated the game's development budget at more than $137 million, and a Scottish reporter estimated that total development and marketing costs exceeded $265 million United States dollars, which at the time made it the most expensive video game ever made in history. Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, abbreviated as RAGE, was selected to build the game. The development team understood that it could design the game world in more detail than Grand Theft Auto 4, as they were fully familiar with PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 hardware. While it was frustrating to work with those consoles, the team could still design high-quality light and shadows, the game's executive director said. The company's vice president, Dan Houser, felt that working on Grand Theft Auto 4 with new hardware was a temporary challenge, and the team at the time had learned to develop games more efficiently on consoles. Rockstar had made a high-stakes decision at the time. While it was only a year away from the launch of the 8th generation consoles and the company was aware of it, it was decided that the game would be released intergenerationally for both consoles. The decision was made in several ways. The first point was the wide range of players of both the Xbox 360 console and the PlayStation 3. Thanks to the relatively successful performance of both companies in providing high-quality content, the consular market had achieved a success that had never been before. Approximately 160 million active players were still playing on 7th generation consoles, and this statistical community and potential buyers were important to Rockstar. Apart from this, there was a relatively long gap between the launch of new generation consoles and their reach to the target audience, which could greatly damage the sales of games released at the beginning of the generation. As stated above, the costs of building GTA 5 were very high and Rockstar did not want to take any risks in making money at all. When releasing games for 7th generation consoles, they realized that the game was running well on these platforms. It can be said that we saw the best visual designs and 7th generation animations when we launched GTA 5. The game's comfortable running on 7th generation consoles surprised analysts. In addition to visual design, Rockstar also shined in his game's artistic design, which has a few important reasons for this success. Perhaps the most important reason was the beautiful and vibrant design of the game world. Rockstar's first work in the development of Grand Theft Auto 5 was related to the construction of the game world, where early models were made in the game's engine in the pre-production stages. The construction of the imaginary state of San Andreas and the city of Los Santos based on Southern California and Los Angeles was similarly done. The state of San Andreas was first used in the successful GTA San Andreas title, which included 3 separate cities. The builders team thought that reincorporating the 3 cities in San Andreas was a huge ambition because they couldn't model the actual design of cities as they wanted. PlayStation 2 era technology lacked the technical capabilities to design Los Angeles in real detail. Rockstar's focus on 1 city, rather than 3, meant they could produce Los Santos in higher quality and on a larger scale than the previous game. Extensive research was conducted to build Los Angeles in the game. The team conducted field research trips with tour guides and architectural historians and took about 250,000 photos and several hours of video footage from the city's perimeter. Houser considered research and creation of the game world to be one of the most challenging parts of the game's production. The team studied virtual models of the planet, census data and documentaries to reproduce the geographical and demographic range of the city. Rockstar noted that Los Angeles was used solely as a template, and that reality was not dictated to the team when making Los Santos. The game world includes vast areas of the countryside. The investigation also took the team to rural California. Garbett made a visit to HIGHER on the beach in Mumbai. It is interesting to note that the Mumbai beach inspired them to start the story of the character Trevor. The game world is 49 square miles, 130 square kilometers, and it covers about 1/8 of the city of Los Angeles. Its scale was greater than Rockstar's previous open-world games. The GTA 5 world is estimated to be larger than the previous Rockstar game map mix. To coordinate details with the scale of the world, the Rockstar team rebuilt Rage to optimize its capabilities. The game's large, open space allowed the team to rebuild the driving mechanics of the aircraft, which had been removed from the Grand Theft Auto 4 due to a relatively smaller scale. The output of the game was a global presentation that perfectly matched the gameplay and story. Although some fans of the series talk of repeating the ambience and its low relevance compared to previous versions, Los Santos was ultimately one of the most dynamic, high-profile and great worlds of the time in the GTA 5 game. The design of the game world not only perfectly matched the other parts of the game in the fictional section, but it also became a big winner in the online section. With a detailed review, you'll find that the world of Los Santos has been standardized for an online segment. We're talking about an online section that shoulders more than half of the game's current success. Here we will discuss this further. The story revolved around 3 main characters, one of the design milestones of the Grand Theft Auto 5 game stages. The constructive team felt at the time that such a big change in the original gameplay structure was a big risk and was concerned that it would backfire. Initial ideas for creating 3 playable characters had been tested since GTA 4. Eventually, the concept became 3 interconnected stories intertwined through missions. In his new project, Rockstar decided to link the control of 3 characters in gameplay and fiction. HIGHER believed that GTA 5 had the best stage design or level design in Rockstar's history. The core of game storytelling and stage design was largely similar to previous series games, but due to advances in technology and high experience, the details of these designs became more than ever before. The idea of 3 manageable characters first came up during the development of the San Andreas version, but hardware limitations made it impossible to do so. After the release of GTA 4, Rockstar developed 2 extension packages that allowed gamers to control 2 new characters. These 3 intertwined stories received a lot of accolades, so Rockstar formed his new game around the same idea. The development team found that players experience more freedom when controlling 3 characters on missions. The chief planner of the missions felt that they opened up more strategic maneuvers for the players. In 3-person missions that are not scarce, each character takes on a special task. This makes the design of the steps more variety. Apart from that, being able to control 3 characters simultaneously in a game is no ordinary thing. This attracted gamers to the game. The team implemented dynamic missions around the gaming world, a capability borrowed from Red Dead Redemption. Dynamic missions may be placed on the game map quite suddenly and differently from other players. One of the key improvements in GTA 5 was the design of animations. Rockstar recreated the game's shooting and driving mechanics to meet the standards of the day. The public welcome of previous team games such as Grand Theft Auto 4, Red Dead Redemption and Max Payne 3 was considered during the process. The GTA 4 game, which became the best-selling game of the series at the time of release, was receiving criticism that, in my opinion, deserved those criticisms. In terms of physics, GTA 4 is the most natural version of the entire series. Even GTA 5 doesn't have a physical as good as the previous version. This great emphasis on physics had caused the GTA 4 gameplay to slow down drastically, and along with the removal of mechanics such as aircraft control, the GTA was now less arcade and fun than ever before. One of the perennial pleasures in the series is forgetting all the missions and doing strange things in the game environment. Due to the slowness of GTA 4 gameplay for the reasons mentioned, as well as the density of Liberty City buildings, this important and key fun was taken from the players. To increase the shooting speed, Rockstar's team changed the shooting mechanics in the GTA 4 to the whole. The game's deputy technical director said the 4th edition players were not receiving any indication that enemies were dying and could have squandered too many bullets because of the speed in shooting. So GTA 5 introduces a timer that breaks the lock of a target after a few seconds. HIGHER even changed the control of cars and the mechanics of driving the game to make it easier to control, unlike the previous version. Unlike Liberty City, the Los Santos environment is a spacious environment with separate building designs. Combining all of these changes together not only restored the arcade feature to the series, but also turned GTA 5 into the most arcade version of franchises, a change that led to an unreliable success in the online section. The GTA Online game was launched on October 1, 2013. At the beginning of the supply, many infrastructure problems afflicted the game servers. To compensate for the technical problems, Rockstar transferred $500,000, in-game currency, to the accounts of all online players. Nearby, Rockstar took another big risk. The company decided to stop supporting the servers of 7th-generation versions. The company linked the reason for such a decision to the hardware constraints of the 7th-generation consoles, a decision that probably actually had other reasons. Rockstar could have lost all his active players with this decision, but fortunately or unfortunately, that didn't happen. Rockstar took smart strategies at the time of the release of the GTA V game and its online division, which helped it sell and trend more. The first was related to the initial release of the game on 7th-generation consoles. The game seized the sales tables. As soon as the 8th-generation consoles were released, the second came. Rockstar released the 8th-generation version of the game in 2014 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, with plenty of improvements in visual quality. A new wave of earnings came at the same time. This was not the end of the story, and a year later the game became the headline again with the PC version. Finally, it is clear that Rockstar was able to keep this product at the top of the sales chart with continued support for the 5th version of the GTA series. GTA Online was a major revolution for Rockstar in reception by audience and sales. The unparalleled reception of online mode formed a community of many players. Even with the restrictions, PC players formed servers called Roleplay to Game and introduced a new level of GTA Online to the world. The online part of the game still receives new content and has attracted so many players that Rockstar has forgotten about the entire support of Red Dead Online. The GTA Online game alone on Steam sets records such as 100,000 simultaneous players. Where is the GTA 5 game? At the point where it has already sold 170 million copies. Successful AAA games today sell up to 10 million copies. You imagine what a great job GTA 5 has done. Even compared to sales of previous versions of the series, the game's sales figures are considered crazy. This success and high sales led us not to see a new version of the series after 10 years, even more. Fortunately, Rockstar recently approved the construction of GTA 6 and we will likely see its release by 2025. What do you think of GTA 5? Does this game deserve this volume of compliments and accolades? Are you accusing Rockstar of failing to build a new project? Share your opinions with me in comments section.